We often hear someone in family court declare, "I'm doing this for my kids. I fight for them in court." On the surface, this statement resonates with a sense of nobility. It evokes a picture of a protective parent fiercely defending their child's best interest. However, if we dig a little deeper, we might discover a more complex reality. When a parent expresses their fight as rooted in love and protection, it strikes a powerful chord with whoever is listening. This conversation often leads to intense emotions and a willingness to go to great lengths, financially, emotionally, physically, and psychologically. And what parent wouldn't do that for their child? Yet the question arises, if the fight is causing turmoil and distress for the child, who is it really benefiting? Too often that phrase becomes a mask for anger, revenge, or control. The truth is, fighting for your kids should never be about fighting your ex. It should be about fighting for the best interest of your child. And that seems like that should be blatantly obvious. Hello and welcome back to Black Sheep Diaries, where the Black Sheep finally get the mic. I'm Nicole, and I've been trapped in nonstop family court litigation for nearly 12 years and counting. Not because I love litigation, but because apparently I make a really great defendant. In family court, every state has its version of best interest of the child law. It's a statute that says when courts make decisions about custody, parenting time, and parental responsibilities, they must focus on what's the best interest of the child, not the parent. That includes things like the child's emotional and physical needs, the child's relationship with each parent, the stability and safety of each home environment, and the ability of each parent to cooperate and not expose their child to conflict. The law also warns that children should not be exposed to harmful parental conflict. That means the fight itself, if it turns into a war between parents, can actually harm the child and the law that is meant to protect them. So basically, the plus side is that a lot of common sense is wrapped into the meaning of best interest. The downside is that best interest is widely open to interpretation. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about what truly fighting for your kids looks like, or what it should look like. Fighting for your kids means putting your child's needs ahead of your own emotions, making decisions based on what gives your child stability, peace, and growth, supporting your child's healthy relationships with the other parent when and if it's safe, more on that in a minute, avoiding the urge to drag your child into battles, cooperating when it's possible, even when it's hard, because your child deserves peace. The real fight is not against your ex. It's against stability, confusion, and emotional harm. That's what true parental strength looks like. Sometimes "I'm fighting for my kids" actually means I want to make the other parent pay. That's not fighting for your children, that's fighting through them. Fighting for my kids is often nothing more than abusive litigation. This happens when a parent uses the court system to punish, harass, or control the other parent, filing motion after motion, dragging things out, or creating chaos just to win or to get revenge. It may look like filing repeated cases or motions not based on the child's needs, but on resentment and control, refusing to co-parent or communicate in good faith, and using the child as a weapon or a bargaining chip, talking badly about the other parent to the child or poisoning their view. This kind of fight damages the very people it claims to protect, the children. Many people wonder why courts can't tell which parent is genuine and which is selfish. And here's the thing. Courts have limited time, limited evidence, and way too many competing stories. Not that I'm itching to defend the court, but occasionally I get it. Judges only see what's on the record, not the emotional wreckage behind it. They can't measure affection or manipulation, and sometimes the louder, more aggressive parent can appear more involved. But in reality, they're just more controlling and they talk way too much. The system isn't blind. It's just legally short-sighted. That's why your actions matter more than your accusations. Remember that old term, "you'll know them by their fruit"? Yeah, that one applies here. Your consistency, your willingness to cooperate, and your focus on your child's best interests will speak louder than revenge ever can. There's a huge difference between love and control, so let's draw that line. Fighting for your kids means You focus on your child's health, happiness, and security. You set aside personal grudges to give them both parents, considering the other one is safe. You model maturity, patience, and self-control. You use the court as a tool of protection, not a tool of punishment. Now on the flip side, fighting your ex while pretending it's fighting for your kids usually looks like this. They're filing to hurt, not to help. They're teaching your child that love has enemies. They're letting their anger drive, and then they're calling it concern. The other parent becomes the villain in the bedtime stories. Rage gets dressed up as righteousness. And congratulations, the child's life just became the battlefield they swore they were trying to protect them from. One side comes from love, the other comes from ego. So what's the cost of the wrong fight? Every time a parent uses their child to get back at their ex, guess who pays? Not the ex, not the court, the child. They lose stability, they lose peace. They start to think love is a competition and that affection has to be earned with loyalty or pain. Children shouldn't have to pick sides in a war they never even started. But when the fight turns into revenge, it's not noble or righteous, and everyone loses, especially the one person who had nothing to do with it in the first place. The real fight doesn't actually happen in court. It's in the small, unseen moments. It happens in the home, in the heart, and in your everyday choices and reactions. It's a fight to stay calm when you're furious, to listen when you'd rather shout, to rise above when everything else tries to pull you down, to love your child more than you hate your ex. That's what it really means to fight for your kids, not destroying the other parent, but building your child's peace one choice at a time. There's a crucial line between healthy conflict, which are two flawed but loving parents trying to co-parent, and toxic, destructive conflict, where one parent weaponizes the court system for their own selfish narrative. Everything we've said so far makes sense when both parents are at least trying to act in good faith. But what happens when that fight is against someone who isn't there for the child at all? And when the other parent's goal is your destruction, not your child's well-being? That's another fight entirely. When you're dealing with a toxic or abusive co-parent, one who uses the system to wear you down, manipulate perceptions, and keep control, it's no longer just conflict, it's survival. And not just for the parent who is at the receiving end, but the child must bear this weight as well. And this is where the court's discernment matters most. The signs of abusive litigation are the endless motions, the constant blame, the refusal to cooperate, the false accusations, and the obsession with winning rather than healing. But those signs often take time to emerge as a pattern. That's why it's vital for the courts to be trained, alert, and willing to recognize those patterns as early as possible. The court has the authority to end abusive litigation. It has the authority to say, enough, this is not in the best interest of the child. My challenge, and hopefully your challenge too, is for the courts to have the courage to use that authority for good. Because if the best interest of the child really means what it says, then the system must protect not only children from harm, but also protect the parent who is truly acting in the best interest from being endlessly dragged through harm disguised as justice. Because at this point, when someone says they're fighting for their kids, most of us just nod and think, sure, that's one word for it. The kids are the casualties, the court is the stage, and the fighter, well, that's just the clown who forgot the show isn't supposed to be about them. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The fight for your child shouldn't be a spectacle. It shouldn't be a contest of egos nor a game of power. It should be a pursuit of peace, stability, and the well-being of those who can't yet defend themselves, our children. If this resonates with you, if you've been trapped in the system, or if you believe it's time for a real conversation about reform, we want to hear your story. Together, we can be the voice who's been silenced by a broken system. Like, share, comment, reach out today. The contact details are in the description below. And don't wait for change. Be a part of it.